My brother, thanks for the time for coming here at our show and blessing us with your availability and time. I know that you're a busy man, but I'll just try by all means not to take much of your time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time to also come and have some time to talk to young people. Lately, I've spent a
Yeah,
lot of my time with old people, so it's refreshing.
yeah,
Still wants to talk to me.
yeah. Thank you, sir, for the time. I find you an interesting figure to talk to, and because I've kind of observed you in a way. So I'll just like for some of the people to know you in detail because I also don't know in detail. I just know you like from a distance. I've just seen like the things that you've done because I think I met you at UJ for the first time. I met you at UJ, and then from there, that's when I got to know you a little bit better. We have a mutual friend, Kamala Kuskumbuzo Kele, was a Swazini. Shout out. So he's one of
Who's,
the guys who like
who's the mutual friend?
uh, Skumbuzo Kele,
Oh,
school.
school, yes.
Yeah, cool. So I also met him at UJ on my first year. And then when he knew Uti mina nawe from Tantonal and Siazan, and then that's when he told me more about you and stuff. And then we started to bump into each other at campus, and then yeah, you became like a bigger brother.
Yeah, of course. The reality is that there were too many of you guys at that time, and I mean, me being the SG, I was leading about 53,000 students, and
Yeah,
I was in contact with a whole lot of you guys. Some of you, I never knew your names. Last week I was
yeah,
in Rusty, and the other guy comes to me and he's like, "Yeah, hey, oh." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know this face, but where do I know this person?" But no,
yeah,
hey, leadership, what? I'm like, hey, guys, there's too many of you, and of course, I always used to give every person some special time. So people thought I knew them. I knew their names because of how I would listen to them, how I would just give them time to tell me what they are going through. And he's telling me that, yeah, I came to you looking for trust fund and you never gave me. I'm
yeah,
like, no, guys, it was not all in my powers. I could help those I could help, and some of you guys I could not help. But yeah, it was awesome to serve you as a student representative, and I enjoyed my time there. Um, it is a beautiful part of my youth where I could really contribute to the building of this nation meaningfully and be able to measure my contribution by how many students or how many young people I I can contribute in them making their dreams come true. But yeah,
yeah. We really appreciate that, sir.
uh, come again.
I'm saying we really appreciate the effort that you did because I think that time it was 2016, so it was on the height of the Fismas fall and everything, and you were at the core of the leadership of the SASCO at UG, especially DFC because I know you from there.
Of course. In fact, 2015, you met a very responsible me because 2015, I was beaten too much by the system and the police and everything, bouncers. So 2016,
Yeah,
I was trying to be more responsible, trying to look for ways without fighting, even though I was fighting, but I
yeah,
was min-
yeah. You're fighting smart.
fighting was minimal 2015, 2016. But yeah, because 2015 was actually the height of our fighting as student leaders. But 2016, we could now understand exactly what we were faced with, and even these university managers could now relate better with us after the whole fees must fall experience. So 2016, I think you met a very sober me. I had served in the university council at that time and sat with those who were leading the university and making decisions of the university. And that also shaped me in terms of how do we fight our battles as young people, because the reality is that the older generation is in charge of the system and the administration that we find ourselves in. So to be able to navigate them, to be able to sit around the table with them, show them some respect in the way of fighting them, was a very critical thing for me to learn in 2015. So 2016, I was a better a youth leader. And so
so will you say leadership has been a burden to you, or it has been like an easy journey? Because in most cases leadership, as like Intlantla is saying, when you are a leader, you lead people that want to kill you, but at the end of the day, you lead them, provide for them. So for you, how has been the leadership been like in your journey?
yo, there's a cliche we used to say when we were leading SEO, to say we are burdened with an honor and we are honored with a burden. And that's exactly how leadership feels like. Sometimes it feels like an honor, and sometimes it feels like a burden, because, of course, because of the people that you lead, and sometimes because of the dynamic that you find yourself into or in as a leader. Because some of these things, they challenge your core, your inner core. When you meet these students, like I remember when I was student leader, when you meet the students coming all the way from Limpopo, and only thing they have is a matric certificate, and they want to study, and you know that you can help them pursue that dream or career in education, but they don't have the things that I needed. And you see, even though you want to help them, there's nothing you can do. Sometimes you must put your hands into your own pockets and say, you need to go back home. You need to get your grandmother to do an affidavit. You need to get your mother to do it. And so sometimes it really gets to you, even emotionally, to say, this is what we are dealing with. We are dealing with people who are just coming from households where there is no sort of help whatsoever, to say, oh, you want to go to university? Okay, we will pack your clothes. We will make you some mpago, food for the road. There you go. Good luck. And they mean it, and they mean good luck, but they don't know what is needed where you are going. And they think that 200 rand that they gave you, you will just survive for the next maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks in Johannesburg, only to find that that money is going to be spent the first day you arrive. And so sometimes I will have to take these students into my room to say, come, let's share my room, let's share my food. And so it's been a burden and an honor to see how also the Lord has blessed me to host people, to extend myself, to extend the very little things that I have, whether be it space, be it food, be it some embrace, just to have a conversation with the people you lead. Because I think one thing that has made leadership a beautiful journey for me is that I've been led. I've followed great men. I've followed great women. And starting from my parents, they such great leaders who have shaped my life. And of course, then they exposed me to education, to books. My dad exposed me to Martin Luther King. And so that whole process of being led and being able to follow credible people that you esteem them, that you regard them as great leaders, it helps you to really draw and absorb from them. So when the time came for me to be in the forefront, I could easily give what I have received. And where I was found wanting, I would go back and see how other leaders and how other great people that I esteem, how they have dealt with those things. And I think that has been a blessing to, and to always have people, great young men and women who've been around me, even in my tenure of leadership. That also helps you to work with people that you think they are better leaders than you, or they are better business people than you, because you're always leveraging on them, and that makes you a better person every day. So it's been a pattern, and it's been an honor and a blessing, because I really believe that it was a preparation for greater things that are still yet to come in our lives, to lead this family, more especially of the Black family and South Africa as large, and the continent. I believe that we have what it takes, and our youth leadership really sharpened us.
Yeah, that's great, my brother. So, will you say it's the honor, or it's the burden that was allowed in your leadership, like in your day to day life? So, in your wake when you wake up in the morning, do you say, I have this burden of leadership, so I'm going to push, or you're going to look it from the positive side and say it's an honor to lead. So today I'm going to lead at the best of my ability. What has been the loudest voice? Is it the honor or the burden?
Hey, the burden has been more loud.
Yeah,
It's not easy to lead, more especially when you have role models like Jesus Christ. I mean, because every day you look into his journey, you look into how he dealt with people in his day, and you realize that
yeah,
if you are crying for nothing, uh, and, and
yeah,
and and as you engage even with his word, he's like, if they made me run, how much more you? So run. You
yeah,
can't be coming here complaining. And that has made it, even though it's a burden, it has made it a joyful burden to say, I know someone has walked this journey, and I know that he's got victory in this journey. And even for me, there's victory that is prepared. I think my belief system also is, even though it's not so out when you see me in
yeah,
action, but deep within me there is this belief that I want to be more like Jesus Christ. I read about him. I have so much conviction about the man and his
yeah,
life and what he wants to do for me and for my family, meaning the human family, to say he has so much
yeah,
for us. And if we can tap into what he has done already, we can tap into great
yeah,
things. So even in my leadership, even today, in the work that I do, uh, there's a lot of sabotage, there's a lot of backstabbing, there's a lot of
yeah,
people who are not drawing to the same direction with you. But the
yeah,
belief system has made it possible for me to say, surely the Lord wants, there's something that he wants to show me in this situation or in this particular
yes,
moment. And that makes it enjoyable, even though it's hard, even though it's painful, because I'm looking forward to the
yeah,
end goal. Say, what will be the end goal of this thing? And so that has made it quite an interesting journey to walk. Sometimes I come out more broken. Sometimes I come out more hurt, but I'm always grateful that I get to lead this life. I'm not passive about the life that I'm given here. And yeah, because for me, I think it starts by just leading your own life, and then it permeates to the people who are around you. But yeah, I'm enjoying, man. I'm enjoying, and I'm getting some small victories every day. So the
I'm
rebellion
glad.
has
I'm glad I
rebellion
talked to
has
you
been
today.
around, now,
Because
but the honor has been always there to comfort me.
I'm glad, my brother, you said that because in my day to day, I also have a parent. As you know, I'm running Hadison Consultant. It's an NPO. Because I am also so passionate about education as well. Education, like it changed my life. I see people saying you can go to varsity and study and get a degree, but it's pointless. But I'm trying by all means to get as much as people as I can to varsity to study because going to varsity changed my life. Not because I got a qualification and I got a job and economic side of it, but also the exposure. I usually tell people I didn't know about YouTube up until I got to varsity, and some of the people they don't believe that. They don't believe that in most cases, especially uh, like when we were growing up, we didn't have computers for YouTube, even like having a smartphone as a young kid. Like it wasn't like something that we used to. So the exposure that education got me, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad today you're saying even if the parent is the loudest thing on my day-to-day life, but still I still have to do it. Jesus Christ, he was loved by the Gentiles more than his people. So I find myself in my day to day having to apply for people from Limpopo, from KZN, and people from where I'm from. They'll text me on the last minute. They know very well that I do applications, but they'll text me on the last minute. But because I love this thing. Like we have to do it, even if like sometimes we don't have to sleep and there are a lot of things that are involved. But I'm glad that you said even if it has been even if the parent has been the loudest, but the owner has always comforted you. So the honor of the things that I do is going to comfort me going forward. I'm like I just wanted to tell you
That's
that I really
amazing.
appreciate these words coming from
And it's amazing to hear you say that, because it's one thing that I wanted as well to say. I said to my dad, everyone who graduates from high school like I must go to university. And I'm going to make it a point that they go to university, because it doesn't take money, it doesn't take riches or anything, because we used to think it's rich kids who go to university, or kids who are coming from rich families, until we
yeah,
got to university. So me and
yeah,
you coming from Dondoni,
yeah,
the exposure of being in a university changes our whole world, because it's not that we are unable or we don't have what it takes to do the things in life, but the scope of our
yeah,
exposure, it's very small, that you
yeah,
certain things you don't know about, and you'll never know about them unless and until you come out of
yeah,
the place. So going to university, I like the fact that you mentioned that it brought you to the exposure of things, to YouTube. I downloaded Facebook when I got to university 2008. So I, I
yeah,
wouldn't know about Facebook. I knew about Mixit. And even by then, I didn't know how to use Facebook. I was just thinking we are
yeah,
just using Facebook like how I'm using WhatsApp now. Just put a status there and then I'm gone. And I'll see what the
yeah,
next. And now we've come to understand, when we go to university, we've come to understand how these tools connect us. how I can connect with people, what my old friends who left the country, who are outside the province, who are white. And daily when you are in university, you hear other kids coming from different backgrounds, different communities, and that makes you a well-traveled person without even going to those places because of that kind of
Yes.
approach. And for us, yeah, as Don people, that was everything because we have the grace. We just need the exposure. The exposure is what we
Yes.
need
Yes.
to start making it
Yes.
happen. And yeah, we have some special grace of leadership and of business. Everyone who's coming from Dondoni that I've met outside those corridors, we will be talking about business. We'll be talking about education, and we'll be talking about politics, some of them. And it's because these are the things that really have shaped that community. And of course, our faith. I think our faith has
Yes.
been also a beautiful thing that brings us all together every time.
Yes. You are a relatively young person. Do you think as today's youth are we on the right direction as as as,
About you,
as the as the
July,
youth?
9th July will be my last day as a youth person because I'm gonna be starting 36. So I'm closing the calendar of
Yes.
being young or being a youth
Yeah.
in South Africa because I think I'll never stop being young. I'm very young at heart, and I believe that if we are going to experience any change, it's going to come from young people. Now, coming back to people
Yeah.
today and direction, of course,
Yeah.
young people are always going to have direction according to the conditions on the ground. To say what are the conditions on the ground, what are they dealing with, and that then almost all the time defines what should be the role of young people in that season or at that time. And if you're looking at today's young
Yeah.
people, it depends where are you looking at the young people. If you are going to look at young people and you think young people are those who are sitting emakhoneni, babhizi ngenyawupe and stuff like that, and then you will say young people have lost direction. But also if you look on the
Yeah.
other side of things, you will see young people in business, you will see young people in politics, you'll see young people in education space swallowing ranks, even in the education space. So
Yeah.
you will see that
Yeah.
we have scattered young people almost throughout all these faculties of life. So there's those who are
Yeah.
really being swallowed by drugs and everything, but there's young people who are really pushing barriers. And of course, we need to be supportive of the young people who are pushing barriers in society as much as we need to be
Yeah.
supportive to these young people who are struggling from their addictions and drugs and everything like that, to say how do we get them out of that space, as much as we need to be supporting those who are pushing barriers. I mean, you as a young person from Dondon, I've seen your activism in the education space, in the business space, and in just in
Yeah.
community development. So we cannot then
Yeah.
class all young people to say they've lost direction. And of course, it's not everyone who must have the same mindset that you have. One in a village, one in a community is enough to do what the Lord wants to do in our communities or in our nation. Because even this gospel, it took 11, 12 men, but today we have the whole world calling upon the name of Jesus. So then you will know that this revolution or every revolution, it's not going to be a trending thing. It's not like every young person is going to be on it. It's always one or two, and that's why it makes us exceptional as young people who want to change the status quo, who wants to fight the status quo. It's because in every generation there's going to be one or two. But then overall, young people are losing direction today because they want to call their fathers sellouts. They want to call their fathers failures in life. They want to call the very people who raised them and gave them direction to say they are good.
Yes.
And I'm saying this because I've seen that a lot of young people, even as we celebrate June 16 and what, they're trying to say, the Mandelas, they are the sellouts, they what, they are the sellouts. And you don't understand that those were young people in their days who changed the status quo to what you have today. But because you are lazy and you are a coward to change the status quo today, you're looking at the people behind you or in the past to say they have not done anything, whilst you are the one doing anything in your day, in your youth. So in that case, we're losing direction because as young people, we should be able to absorb from our elders, from our fathers. And it's not always biological fathers, because in these communities where we are raised, we have fathers who've been and mothers who've been trying to get these societies to function. So we are losing direction. We think we don't need these old people. We can do this thing on our own, and they are sellouts. We need to be able to absorb from them and be able to correct their own mistakes, because the circumstances and the conditions have changed. And over time, we found ourselves in a better condition to move this thing forward. So here, we are losing direction in that case, but we are also gaining momentum in terms of getting an education, getting skills that are pushing society forward, and that are breaking the barriers in society for us to be a people who are self sustainable and reliant in our own societies. As young people, we need to still get our communities to depend on us, which at least we have the youth. The youth is coming. The youth is going to change this. But now if you look at how we are looked at, like, how shame the youth. Like, shame. What's going to happen with this youth? So we are losing direction for that, because we need to give these people a beacon of hope, more especially abazali bethu, ukuthi hayi izinto ziyashintsha, naba labafana, they are getting an education, and that translates into development of our families, of our communities.
Yes.
So
That's
to answer your question, we are not entirely, but we have elements that are showing that we are losing track, because we need to build from what the previous generation has done. We can't be celebrating June 15 of 1976 and we don't appreciate what was done in 1976, because it means we will do nothing today. We will continue to celebrate the people of 1976. We're supposed to be celebrating a youth of 2006 now because of what they have done to us. Youth of 2020 because of what they have done to society. And so if we are going to call those the previous ones sell out, then there's nothing, no one is going to even celebrate us with the contributions that we are doing today, because we pretend as if we are building from nothing, and we're standing on shoulders of great leaders, more especially in the South African.
What can you say to the young person, or to the young people who have taken the leadership journey as well? because from what you're saying now, there's supposed to be a table whereby we are going to pass the battles from old to the young. As you were saying, Gutsi, you are now transitioning to being an adult. As much as your heart and your efforts are going to still be much on the young people, but now you're going to an adult. How do we build a tool so that you can like um, tell us, mentor us on how we better leaders as we are doing, because you've walked the path, you know all the tricks of leadership, you've known all the heads, you've been in like all the burdens that we are yet to face. What can you say to leaders, especially that are aspiring to be like you, to be like the Nelson Mandelas, to be like the Oliver Tambos? What can you say to them? What do you do? What can you motivate them on this table so that we don't call you guys sellouts? How we do so that you can make sure that we get the cable from Elisha to Elijah to say yes, I'm leaving, but you are coming after me. So this is the journey. This is what we do, because like if you can put the business aspect of it, we see, especially for black people, the wealth is only on one generation. The second generation don't even understand what you've been doing. If you had a shop, they don't know how to run a shop. As soon as you die, the shop dies with you. So you can see that there was no link to 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 connect between the old and the new generation. In terms of leadership, what can you say? We're sitting on the table. How do we make sure that the link is there between the old and the new generation?
Hey, you are asking difficult questions also, but it, it is well. You know, you are talking about a whole lot of things, because you are talking about the link to say how do we move, how do we transition, and number two, you are talking
Yeah,
about what do I say to the young people who have taken leadership seriously in today. Um,
yeah,
and really, I think first of all, it is a responsibility of those who think they are leading today to write, to express their leadership in writing, so that it can fall into the hands of those who are coming behind them. So we need to start building Black libraries, okay, more especially in the Black community. I mean, the former CEO of ESCOM, who's this white man? He wrote a book about his leadership in
Andrew.
ESCOM in less than a week's time, when he was actually removed from that position. But I wonder how many black leaders
Yeah,
can reflect on their leadership and even put that on a book for the next generation to pick up and read. So that's the first thing. We need to be able to write in business, in leadership, in education. Those who are in the forefront, the black people who are in the forefront, must again learn to write again, because it is a black thing to write. So we must again write, so that we are sure that after 50 years of my funeral, you can still pick up a book and feel like you are wearing my shoes, or you are wearing the same shoes as me, and have the experience of what it felt like to lead a student body in 2015, reading about it in 2082. And so that's the first thing that needs to happen. And secondly, is for those who have taken leadership seriously today to know that reading must become a part of their lives. You must always read. A few days ago, I was listening to Joseph Prince saying there's a university research that says the people abaphila isikhathi eside emhlabeni are the people who are reading, who are readers. But of course, he was encouraging the church to read the Bible, because that's one of the books that you will never get bored of, because every day it brings a new perspective, even of yourself. There's transformational power in reading. And even in reading the Bible, reading the Bible is something else because it transforms you. But picking up a book, more especially about people that you hold in high esteem, if you love Oliver Tambo, if you love Che Guevara like myself, pick up a book, read about them. There's so much you can pick up from the people who've gone before you. And also to have conversation. What you are doing here is a bridge. It's a generational bridge already, to say we must continue to have conversation. We must continue to come together and share our experiences, our lived experiences, to the following generation. And like I was saying at the beginning of this conversation, to say lately I've been spending time with the older generation because of the transition that I'm taking also personally in my life. I need to understand into zabo baba manje, what is these babas busy with in society. And it's up to you. They are not going to call you. Don't call me to say, come, we are having a meeting or we are having a gathering. It's up to you to squeeze in there and learn the etiquette of being with old people, learn to respect them, learn to listen, even though you think you are the one who's educated and who knows more and what, because that, it then builds you. So to the young people who are in leadership today, be easy on yourself. I mean, you are going to make a lot of blunders. People are going to call you names, but be easy on yourself and stay focused to your convictions. Have a conviction. Don't lead without a conviction, because there is no grace where you are leading without conviction. You must have that conviction to say, you feel it, you know it, to say you must be in the forefront of this thing because nobody else is passionate about it as you are. Nobody else can give to this thing like you are prepared to give. Have that particular conviction. Don't be in leadership because you were voted to be in leadership. Don't be in leadership because you could buy people to be in that position. But be there because you have a conviction and the passion to serve the people that you are leading. And make sure that you are leading because you are the best amongst that particular group. So because we need to get to a point where the best among us can lead, not those who have money, not those who can buy us alcohol, all of us, or who can sing better than all of us in politics or in the church. But the best among us should take position, should take the center stage in leading, because there's so much we can learn from them even as we follow them, so that even tomorrow we can be better leaders. So to those who are already leading, take it easy, man. You are going to make mistakes, it's okay. Sometimes those mistakes will bring you names. So people are going to start calling you names, and that's okay. It's part of the journey, but always strive for improvement. Always strive for personal development. You, as a leader, you must take time to develop yourself more than you want to lead the people or to lead whatever that you are leading. Take time to develop yourself, because when you lead from a place of wholeness, from a place of being full, you really are effective in what you are doing. So yeah, that's it for the young people. And keep on reading, man. Keep reading and make time. Hlupha abantu abadala, those that you admire who are in business or in leadership. If you're in leadership, say, can I get book some time with them, get into their spaces, have something that will entice them, that you would take there to say, hey, can we talk about this, or can we do this? Because then you will be able to measure even your leadership, to say, with this leadership of yours, can you go have a conversation with the Maponyas of your community? Can you go hold a conversation with the Motsipes of your country? Or you are just good enough to lead there at Mvela? And so you must be able to be easy on yourself and to take those shots to go and be in conversations with those who are ahead, so that you can see how far are you from coming to where they are, and continue to sharpen yourself. Yeah.
When are you expecting your book?
Why must I write books?
Yes.
Or
Sorry?
because I just said leaders must write. Of course. When are you expecting my book?
You are
Guys, in fact, take to try.
you are looking.
So I've been writing a whole lot of material, just putting it away. Every time the Lord drops something in my spirit, a conviction about a particular subject, I reflect on my experience on that particular subject. I reflect on what I've learned from even the word of the Lord, and I just write and put it aside. But my woman is excited about producing me and publishing. So yeah, so maybe we will start to get a book. Now that I'm 35, I must now write about my youth before I get older.
I'm looking forward to it,
so
brother. I'm looking forward
expect a
to
book at least in 3 years.
3 years. No,
I'm still reading. Remember, you must read before you write. You must not rush into writing. You must read so that you know which audience has the Lord called you to, and how to speak to that audience. So you must be able to sharpen yourself, pick up books, see what makes you tick. Some books are great books, but you can't read them. Some people have read them and they feel excited about them, but because of the style of writing, you have not gotten anything from them. You don't enjoy them. So as you read, you get to know a style of writing that makes you tick, and that style of writing can be now your style of writing to pass the message to the next generation. But yeah, so I'll write. I'm still reading.
Thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate your time today. I've learned a lot from you, from observing you ever since I've known you, and I'm looking forward to the book in 3 years' time, which is around the corner. And I hope I'll have you again, because from the things that I wanted to achieve from our conversation, I think I've only achieved half. So we still have more to talk about. So I'll really appreciate if you give me another opportunity to have you on our show.
Beautiful. No, I like what you're doing. That this is awesome, man. And even though you got me ungzumile, and I know you told me just before the wedding that but there was so much happening in my head, because I had this traditional wedding coming, and then I needed to do that. And now when you came and reminded me that, hey, and you remind me on the same day, I'm like, this man. But yeah, there's been so much that I've been doing, and I lost count of the things that I need to do. But I appreciate what you are doing and inviting me. And I think ngikhuluma kakhulu manje because we have not spoken for such a long time. But maybe in our conversation we'll be able to just stick to the topic and the questions that you have. But I needed to give you a broader perspective of how I've been looking at these things, and not rob you so that you think maybe I'm such a genius in this thing.
Yeah, no, congratulations on being a Baba as well. So hope you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah. We need to after being a progressive youth, you need to take the role of building Black families, because what whatever that is going to be sustainable, it will come from a family. It will not come from school. It will not come from church. It will not come from any institution. What is going to be sustainable in this life, it's going to come from family. So we need to be intentional about building Black families. If you look, you were just talking about how businesses fail in the Black community. It fails because the next generation does not take from the previous generation, take the ropes. And that is because of family structure. You can't just pass it to the next generation if there is no family structure. If you look at the biggest businesses that we've seen, it's because there's a proper family structure. And so we need to build, we need to be intentional about building Black families so that whatever that we are trying to establish today, it can outlive us. It can be found alive 300 years after our memorial services. So it was important for me to take the journey that I'm taking so that we can continue to build our society. But yeah, thank you for the congratulations message.
Thank